Hello, this is Gio and we're back with video 2 of how to replace a toilet bowl gasket, which again is where the toilet bowl connects to the floor. And if you haven't seen the last video, we've already kind of done an anatomy of the toilet, how it works, and why we might have a little problem with the gasket on the bottom. And we went ahead and removed, let me grab a light, removed all the water from the flush tank and also from the toilet bowl itself. We turned off the water line, we disconnected the water line. And so now it's just time to take the toilet apart and remove it. And to actually remove the toilet, it's not actually that difficult. The toilet is only connected by two little bolts. And if I can pop this off, there's a little cap here. Hold on, let me get a screwdriver. Actually, I grabbed a little putty knife, so this should probably just pop it off. There you go. And this little nut just screws on down. There's one on the opposite side, and that's all that's holding the whole bowl down. Now, if you are a big brawly guy or have several friends, you might just take those two nuts off and lift the entire toilet off. But I'm not that big, and it does get really bulky and harder to deal with the flush tank on. So I'm going to remove the flush tank first before I disconnect the main bowl. Well, looking back into the flush bowl, you get the little flush valve right there, the thing in black. Oops, get this light out of the way. Don't electrocute myself. But looking right straight down, you see these two little things, these little threaded kind of screws, and then that's basically what's holding the flush tank down. Now going underneath the tank, to get down, this is you kind of see a little shim here. You kind of right between. Not sure if you could see that either. You can kind of see the screw bolt going through, and then on the bottom side, hopefully I can get down here. You can see where there's a nut. And so we're going to take a wrench, hold this down, and use a screwdriver up on top to pry off these two nuts and loosen this tank. Okay, so I have my little wrench, I have my little crescent wrench, I have a big screwdriver here, and I'm just going to get down here and feel around. Try it all. Lock this out. Get my screwdriver in that thread. You can see it coming out. You want to take this all the way out. Actually, I'm not going to take this all the way out. The nut's kind of just stuck there because of a little seal, a little washer right here. And I could take it all the way out and inspect this washer, but this washer looks like it's in pretty, let me see if I could, it looks like it's in pretty good condition. And as long as the nut's out, and it is, it just fell to the ground right there, I'll go ahead and loosen up the other one, and with the nuts off, it should slip right off. Okay, and so I got both the little nuts off. This actually has an attached little washer to it. And so this whole bowl should just come right off. And there we go. So I just tilted it on its side, and I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, you see the hold down bolts here, and a little bit of that washer coming through that I didn't want to fully take out since I want to reuse these. These things will seal fine. And this is the Spud Washer, and this basically connects the flush bowl to the main bowl. And you can see some shims that were originally installed because you want to get this level, and sometimes it's a little hard to do that. So hopefully we can reinstall this without shims, but we'll see. So this seal here sat right here and basically prevented leaks. Okay, with the flush bowl removed, now we put our attention to the main bowl. And again, these are the hold down nuts washer, and this is the hold down bolt there. We took off the cap, and so we're just going to take a little crescent wrench and take these off, and these are on both sides of the toilet. And then with the nuts off, I'm just going to take my little putty knife and kind of scrape these off, and I'll just keep that like that. But you can see right here, there's actually some of the original wax from the seal coming through here, so it really does squeeze out there. And this may or may not be part of the problem where a lot of it squeezed too far out. But so I'm going to remove the other side, and then we're going to remove this bowl. Just very carefully lift up, straight up, and then you kind of want to tilt it on its side because some of this wax is probably going to stick to the bowl, and just very carefully lean it over. Okay, and this is our mess, and all this here is all that wax that was a part of the original ring. We're going to be replacing this wax, and this wax we're all going to just kind of scrape up. Now underneath this is a flange which attaches, is basically screwed. If you kind of dig in here, there's some screws that screwed onto the floor. Right here, these bolts actually, these are actually have nuts to them, and they're actually these little hold down bolts. Actually, if you loosen these, and these will come right off of this flange, so these can be replaced. So if these are in really bad shape, you could replace these. Just go to any hardware store and replace them. Now on this side, this is like a little seal, but this seal will just pop off. Check that out. This you don't keep. You know why? Because if you look at your new wax ring, this plastic part here is this plastic part here. So it just got kind of glued on to the bottom of your bowl. And a couple other things you see. I see some shims here. Actually, somebody used some metal washers here for shims because the floor may not be level, and so we'll probably have to deal with some shimming. We'll use some wood shims. But first of all, I'm just going to clean up all this wax, remove all this wax material, and get it as clean as possible. Clean the bowl. Okay, so I try to clean it up as best I can. Here's some of the debris. I've tried to clean off this surface, but it's pretty stained, so the toilet's going to cover most of it. There is somebody left some washers here, probably as shims. They just rusted. It's hard to get that off, but I got most of the wax off. There's a little bit there. I put this little napkin here, or paper towel, to kind of seal that off. Just when I clean it off, I didn't want wax falling in, plus, you know, there's sewer gases coming up. And I try to clean the seal off as best I can. So there we have it. We took the toilet off, and now we're ready to replace the new seal and reinstall the toilet. And so that'll be the next video. But until then, I say goodbye, and I'll see you next time.